Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Alan.
And you are officially tuned in to the GG Dispatch. Each week on Tuesday, bright and early, we consolidate the week's biggest headlines in gaming news. Whether you're listening in on your commute, during your workout, or you just have us on in the background, we want to thank you for listening in. And speaking of thanks, another thank you to the kind folks at Audio Technica for providing the microphones that both Alan and I are using, the AT2020 USB-X. Whether you're just starting out on your content creator journey or you're a seasoned pro, Audio Technica has the products for you. Asterisk, Alan's not using his mic today because he's fighting with his computer.
And I'm losing.
He's losing this battle, ladies and gentlemen. Alan, how was your week? How was your week going?
It was a good week, good weekend. Actually doing kind of something I don't normally do, which I've been trying to change is reading. I started reading a book called The Will of the Many,
Oh,
and so
okay.
far it's pretty dope. I really went into it. I'm already at the chapter 12, but this thing is long. I think it's got 60 chapters or 70 chapters.
Jeez.
But I'm really enjoying it. So check it out, The Will of the Many.
The Will of the Many. Who's the author for that?
I believe it's James Islington.
Okay, cool. I, when I was a wee lad, I loved reading, of course. The book fair was my jam. Loved rolling into that thing with $20, knowing I was going to feel like a baller. And so I did a lot of reading when I was younger for recreation, and of course the older you get, the more reading that you're doing for schoolwork and stuff. You get disillusioned with it, right? And so then went through college, studied literature, read way more than I ever wanted to read in my life. And so I also had a similar kind of not reawakening, but rediscovery of my love of reading fiction and novels. And one that I picked up and read, this was a while ago now, but Hail Mary, I should know, Andy Weir. That's it. Yeah. Cause he did the Surviving Mars book too. I forgot what that was called, but read that book. Oh my gosh. I devoured that thing in 2 days. So it's really refreshing when you find, when you get back into reading kind of for fun, and you're like, oh yeah, reading can be awesome when you read what you want to read.
Yeah, also, strong recommend to all listeners, join your local library. You don't have to go in and check out the book. What I've been doing is they have this app that you can log in with your sign in with your library sign in. It's called Libby. There's two other options, but Libby was the one that seemed the best for me.
Yeah.
And so you can check out the the ebook, which is what I did, and
Nice.
it's super convenient. Yeah, you have to wait sometimes. This one is a really popular book, so I was number 80 in line, but yeah, I got there eventually. But yeah, join. And also, you most libraries also get access to this streaming service called Canopy, which has a lot of TV shows and movies. So yeah, go join your local library.
That's awesome. Yeah, Libby, Overdrive. There are a few options, and that's another. Yeah, it is another great option now, especially if you're wanting to get back into reading and you find some of the more some of the older titles, right? They're still great. Those ones don't necessarily have lines for them. It's usually the latest fantasy
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
sci-fi. Those ones are going to have if you want to read Rebecca Yarros's Iron Fourth Wing or whatever, you're probably going to be waiting a long time on a library app for it, but for some of the older titles, you'll be able to get into that a lot faster. So yeah, awesome. I'm glad that you're getting into some reading. I started off my day in a sort of optimistic manner, like I normally do. I wake up, there's birds singing outside. I live kind of like a Disney princess life, right? But I quickly had that come to a screeching halt when I went out to my car to go to the gym, and I turned on my car, which is a Prius, by the way, and it started making this god-awful noise. And I know exactly what that god-awful noise meant. It meant that somebody stole my catalytic converter. because, and
Ouch.
I know why it makes that sound because it's happened before. So that is what I spent the better part of the morning kind of chasing down, getting everything all sorted out, doing all the adult stuff around that. But yeah, man, there people are still out here looking for them catalytic converters. So if you own a car that has an easily extractable catalytic converter, be warned. Put a weld a piece of steel under your car or something to protect it. And yeah, safeguard your car, people.
Yeah, that sucks, dude. Sorry to hear that happened to you. Like, but for sure, like this story is just a reminder of like, yeah, when I finally do get around to buying a car, it's gonna be electric. Not have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Just plug it in, just set it and forget it. And then I also had to, I this isn't video games. Well, yeah, it's not really video games, more pop culture, right? But like, I'm going to Comic Con, and I participated in the Hotel Apocalypse. So if you're familiar with Comic Con, you know that everybody sort of vies for hotel rooms in this crazy, digital queue, and hopes to land a room downtown. Um, and both my wife and I did it, and we both got our emails today that we did not get placed in a room. So it's like that was just another. It was kind of like insult that got to meet an injury the part of the day. But we're still hopeful. General sales maybe, and we live in San Diego, so I know a lot of people are like, "Why are you getting a hotel room? You live in San Diego." Well, first of all,
Traffic sucks, right?
I mean, you get on the trolley; it's not that bad. But I mean, it's a free country. First of all, secondly, it's really convenient to be able to just go and like offload all of your stuff, and also just have a room to have some downtime. Like you walk around that hall, you're putting in miles and miles. Like it's nice to be able to just go up to a comfortable room and just lay down, and, like take a little cat nap, especially when you're pushing your 40s as an elder millennial. Um, it's nice. So we're hopeful we'll find a place. But that's what my day was today. But enough about me. Let's talk about the news. We've got 5 stories today, starting with Helldivers 2 possibly coming to Xbox. This is a scoop from, or this is the article is from Game Rant's Eddie's Gunner. And it says a recent claim from an insider suggests that Helldivers 2, one of 2024's biggest PlayStation exclusives, could make its way to Xbox someday. Given that Sony Interactive Entertainment is the publisher of Helldivers 2, the release of an alleged Xbox port would mark a major shift in strategy for the console manufacturer. It's no understatement to say that Helldivers 2 has been a breakout hit for Sony so far, with the game consistently topping sales charts on PS5 and PC. The simultaneous launch of Helldivers 2 on Steam has seemingly contributed greatly to the game's success. After all, games as a service games like this one thrive the best when they're available on as many platforms as possible. The point of consideration has left many to wonder if Sony might be willing to bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox someday. Despite the chances of this normally being very unlikely, this new report indicates that there may be some hope for Xbox fans looking to play Arrowhead's hit shooter on their preferred platform. On the latest episode of the Xbox Era podcast, notable insider Shipshaw Nick _Nick claims that he's heard very, very early preliminary discussions about I love that framing, very, very early and preliminary discussions about the possibility of Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox. With the new interim CEO Hiroki Totoki recently taking charge at Sony Interactive Entertainment, Nick suggests that the PlayStation exclusive may be a little more open to experimenting with aggressive multi-platform strategies. Although Nick states that it would make sense for Sony to put this PlayStation game on Xbox consoles, he reminds fans to take this information with a big dose of salt. And he goes on to say, it doesn't mean that it's coming for sure. I just said there's very early discussions about it. It could all fall to pieces. Take it with a grain of salt. So, I know we've discussed this before, Alan, but
Yeah,
I think this just makes sense. Especially
I
for a
agree.
title like this
Yeah.
one. Like,
Yeah, the thing is that, you know, Sony kind of put itself on a path towards all these, games as a service and all these projects they're working on with the intent of basically getting their own version of Fortnite. But like Fortnite didn't become Fortnite by being on one platform. It became Fortnite by being able to go on everything.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
that sticking to just PlayStation PC just doesn't work if you wanted to reach that level, which I think is what Sony wants. That was the whole point of this entire endeavor. So I think it makes perfect sense to bring over to Xbox and to have a whole new set of players jump in, spend money on the game world, and helping it grow. I also think that it'll be easier for them to do with this title because I don't think people consider this like a proper like PlayStation exclusive. Not in the same way that they view God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider Man.
Mm.
So I think this one is like the perfect one to let go on Xbox. Similar to how Xbox is being kind of judicious with what they put on other platforms.
Right.
And let's not forget that PlayStation kind of already has titles that go on Xbox it's called MLB The Show. So like that relationship is already there. So I think that this would be a good move for the game in general.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm hopeful that our Xbox companions can enjoy it because it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. I'm still pretty low level tuned myself, but I've got some buddies that I'm going to be getting in doing some more leveling with, and I know the marketing has been great for it, and the community in general has just been having a great time. So bringing more into the party could only be a good thing, right? Like
Also, a reminder,
fandoms don't go
my
bad when they get
PlayStation.
bigger, right?
No, yeah, I'll say also a reminder, my PlayStation died, but my Xbox is still kicking. So this is a way for me to be able to play it. Bring it
Yeah,
to Game Pass. Let's
bring it
get
to
this
Game Pass
done.
for Alan. Do it for Alan.
Don't
All
leave
right.
me behind.
No man left behind. All right. Fallout Season 2 confirmed, story number 2. This is from the Hollywood Reporter's James Hibbard. Prime Video, oh, sorry, it's official. The sci fi action comedy Fallout will return for a second season. Prime Video renewed the series based on the popular Bethesda Softworks game franchise and adapted by showrunners Geneva Robertson Dworet and Graham Wagner, and produced by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. The show has given the streamer a welcome buzzy boost, premiering to some of Prime Video's best reviews ever, averaging a 94% average positive critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. The streamer also says the show is among its top 3 titles to date, though per usual didn't back it up with any hard data. Jonah, Lisa, Geneva, and Graham have captivated the world with this groundbreaking Wild Riders show. The bar was high for lovers of this iconic video game, and so far, we seem to have exceeded their expectations while bringing millions of new fans to the franchise. Amazon MGM Studios' Jennifer Salk said in a statement. The cast, led by Ella Purnell, Aaron Moten, Walton Goggins, and Kyle MacLachlan, have knocked it out of the park. We'd like to thank Jonah and Lisa and our friends at Bethesda for bringing the show to us, as well as Geneva and Grant for coming aboard as showrunners. We are thrilled to announce Season 2 after only 1 week out and take viewers even farther into the surreal world of Fallout. It says filming on the second season is expected to move to California in order to benefit from a $25 million tax credit. And if the first season's finale is teased as any indication, the next season might be headed to the world of New Vegas, a popular location in the game franchise. The article goes on from there. But as I mentioned, I haven't had a chance yet to dig into the world of Fallout. I've been hearing more and more great things, so I am becoming increasingly interested. But haven't had a chance to catch up. But I think this is just another great win for adaptations of video games, to be honest. And I'm really happy and excited for Fallout fans who now have more material to look forward to being adapted. So I think that's awesome.
No, yeah, I actually finished the whole series already. I really enjoyed it. I think kind of going towards like the last two episodes, I had a lot of like concerns of how can they start to wrap some of this up because obviously you want to leave some questions sort of open for season two, but there was like so many things kind of being revealed and happening there. I was a little worried, like, are they going to be able to stick the landing? And they do. I still have several issues with some of the choices that they made, but I still think it's a really good show. And like you said, it's another great video game adaptation. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come that because I know that a lot of older TV shows and movies has been really bad. And so, but there's so much good IP in the video game world that can work really well on either the small screen or the big screen.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we see more of that, and hopefully, whenever you finish, we can have a follow-up discussion.
Yeah. I will endeavor to get caught up so that we can have that conversation soon. Meanwhile, Target is abandoning physical media. No! Story number 3. This is from Taylor Lyles at IGN. Retail chain Target has responded to the recent reports claiming that it will stop selling physical media, revealing that it will continue to sell physical media, but will limit the number of copies it sells in its retail stores. The Target spokesperson told IGN that the retail chain will be transitioning to the limited assortment of DVDs they carry in retail stores. The official website will still offer thousands of titles for customers to purchase. Though the retail stores are pivoting to a more selective approach in what physical media it carries, the spokesperson told IGN that it would offer select DVDs in the stores when it has a new release or during key times throughout the year when they're more popular, such as Black Friday or during an anti-Prime Day sale. Based on our guest shopping patterns and broader industry trends, we're transitioning the limited assortment of DVDs we carry in our stores, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's a very depressing picture of empty Target shelves with no DVDs on them. So, as an analog person to my core, it's like I love owning physical media, particularly games. This is bad news bears for me, but I mean, I don't know. If I feel like it's sort of inevitable. I feel like I can't. I don't know
Yeah, for sure.
how much more I can fight this tide, Alan. I don't think I have it in me.
Yeah, it's definitely not surprising because Best Buy did something similar earlier this year. And but I think it's getting to the point where Best Buy is just like, I think if you check online, like most of their movies are just out of stock. So I think that they're just going to stop selling movies altogether, like physical movies. Um, so you do have to wonder how much time the video games have like left,
Right.
until like the same thing happens. So it will be interesting. Hopefully, like it's later rather than sooner. But something tells me that you know probably with the next generation, it'll be sort of a thing where everything is digital, and then like limited run games and 8-bit games, those are sort of like niche uh, physical manufacturers kind of pick up the slack and just sell to a very niche audience.
It's just really, I'm still struggling with how that model is going to work. Like I don't know. I mean, it's working now, obviously. I get that. But I feel like there is such a large percentage of the gaming population that if it's digital only, there's going to be a lot more delay in picking up games. They're going to wait for sales. Like, we're not going to see that same burst. I don't know if they'll ever move away from it entirely. But when it comes to like movies and TV shows too, like the real tricky thing with movies and TV shows is like with so many streaming services, it's harder than ever to find what you want. Like you would imagine that with Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and like all this other stuff, it would be really easy to go and find that movie that you want to go and see. Like my wife and I, we wanted to watch The First Wives Club the other day. Fantastic film, classic, tremendously funny. But when we went to go look for it, like there's this new show coming on Netflix based on the movie, but it's like nowhere to be found. And it happens so often when people go looking for media, and it's like you either, it's either on an obscure service that you don't have, or you can rent it for 20 or buy it for 25, which is the stupidest thing ever.
And
Um,
they can take it from your library later on.
exactly. And so it's just like, you know, I want to say that movies and TV make sense to go to this like digital streaming, structure. But honestly, you should absolutely still be buying the physical copies of these shows that you really love. Like get Game of Thrones, the early seasons, get those shows that you really like on Blu-ray or DVD and just treasure them because you cannot take for granted the fact that you'll be able to just like pull them up, find them easily, and be able to watch them on, whatever service you have.
No, yeah, actually, like recently, I've been seeing a lot of shows where it's just like someone goes looking for them, and they're like, "Oh, they got pulled the other day," and like I had no idea. Like I remember there was this one actress, I cannot remember her name, but she was in a show on Disney, and like I think it had 2 seasons, and like she was basically sad because like her own children were like toddlers, so they never got to see the show. The streaming service took it down, and there was never a physical copy. So it's like this show that she could never show her children. Now she got lucky that someone was like a data hoarder and had the capability to burn Blu-rays, and he basically made her a custom Blu-ray set of this show for her and sent it to her in the mail. Um, Very sweet exchange, very wholesome. But I feel that that's probably the future going forward, and there's not much you can do because, like, I think that we're lucky to have like a limited run games and IM 8-bit and all these other sort of niche physical game manufacturers that will probably be around for a good while because I just don't see the same happening on TV and movies.
Yeah, yeah. We will. We'll see. All right. The first game emulator has hit the iOS App Store. This is from The Verge's Wes Davis. The Delta emulator is officially available on the Apple App Store for free. You should be able to find it in Apple's official store in many countries outside of the European Union. If you live in the EU, it should be available in the new third-party alt store PAL app marketplace that just went live. The app marks the first significant and officially sanctioned game emulator for the iPhone since Apple began allowing them with wide ranging console emulation from the original Nintendo Entertainment System to the N64, and even the Sega Genesis for when you want to play those games that Nintendo don't. Delta developer Riley Testet told The Verge via email that the app is identical to the version debuting with the Alt Store PAL. The app features on screen buttons that change their layout and appearance to match whatever system you're emulating. It supports Bluetooth controllers like Xbox One Series S or PS5 controllers too, and the app lets you customize their layout or set extra buttons for things like quick state saves or fast forward through an old school game's all too often unskippable cutscenes or endless stream of startup logos. Delta even works with some of the quirkier Nintendo input methods like the gyroscope in WarioWare Twisted or the microphone controls in Nintendo DS games like Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Objection! Delta has other touches too, such as automatically grabbing the box art for your games and the ability to customize the art using its built-in database or your own custom images, and users can import controller skins or make their own. It also supports multiplayer for the NES, SNES, and N64, as well as AirPlay streaming. So yeah, there's this very robust emulator now available on the App Store, and if you would like it, you can go get it. And then in terms of where you get your games, I'm not a
It's on
cop.
you.
I'm not a cop. That's on you. But anyway, what do you think about getting some more emulation talk in the mainstream here, Alan?
I think it's awesome. This project has been around for a while, except you'd have to jump through the hoops of sideloading, which would mean jailbreaking. So like I just never participated in it. It was just too much of a hassle to do it. So that's why the emulator is this good right off the bat. Like this developer's been working on it for a really long time. So I think it's really cool to get this stuff because one of the things that always irked me as being an iPhone user is kind of like being I feel like a little too restricted by Apple. I understand that the main argument is privacy, security, and all that, but I think that sometimes they go way overboard, and I'm assuming they probably just didn't want crap from Nintendo on this. But I think it's awesome. I'm glad that you can just do it easily. I tried it myself. It is solid,
Yeah,
although
yeah,
and that's not my preferred way to play. I just kind of decided I just want to like, oh, I want to go check it out. And for those of you who are thinking about doing, it, you still have to jump through like a little bit of hoops. Nowhere near as much as like side loading the thing. That sucks. But like you still got to get like a firmware for the DS, which is the one that I tried, and some BIOSes for the DS as well. So typically you would have to dump that directly from like your physical, handheld. But you can, it's the internet. It's out there. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping this is a good sign of things to come, and we get still a little bit more freedom in iOS. And we see more cool stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I think it was ZSNES. I had an emulator on my PC long ago, and I loved that thing. I loved being able to like go back to some of those games, and enjoy Super Metroid again, or Earthbound, and some of those other classics. And so I'm excited for folks who get to bring that to the App Store and be able to enjoy it. Um, all right, last story. Metaphor Refantazio has an October release date. This is from Kat Bailey at IGN. Metaphor Refantazio, the new RPG by the team behind Persona 5, among other RPGs, officially has a release date. In a special showcase streamed Monday, Atlas revealed that Metaphor will be out on October 11th, putting it squarely in the holidays. The release date was revealed amid a 25-minute showcase hosted by director Katsura Hashino, which showed off the gameplay, music, and other elements. It offered a glimpse of what Persona fans can expect from Hashino's latest project, which bears some resemblance to Persona 5, but in other respects very different. Unlike Persona, which seeks to capture the feeling of being in a Japanese high school, Metaphor is a much more high-concept fantasy adventure. It retains several of the elements of the Persona series, including the turn-based combat and the passage of time, but reimagines them. For instance, instead of a school year that progresses day to day, Metaphor is more of a fantasy road trip. It's all a bit difficult to describe, but the trailer, included in this article, should give you an idea of what to expect. One way or another, expect Metaphor to feature the same memorable art and music that made the Persona games so famous. So, October 11th, mark your calendar. If you are a Persona fan, I think like the article mentioned, there will be a lot of things for you to look forward to. So,
So
yeah,
are you hyped for this? Because I know you're into Persona in general, right?
I am into Persona in general. I don't know what my calendar is going to look like when it comes to games in October. I don't think I'm busy. I feel like I have to wash my hair. I think that it'll largely be open for this, and so in that case, yes, I'd be interested in checking it out. I don't know if it's like the thing with like Persona games, and the thing about getting hyped for like these kinds of games is that Persona games are so freaking long. Like they are so long. Like 80 to 100 hours have been the last couple, right? And
Yeah,
so
easy.
so that's why I'm like, I don't know what my calendar looks like. Like I don't know, and maybe it's just I'm getting to be like an old man or something. But like I'm not as hyped at the concept of like an 80 to 100-hour core story. At the same time, I would happily spend 80 to 100 hours in a game like Elden Ring or something like that. But like when you tell me like to beat this game, it's going to take you 80 hours. Like if you're sticking to the plan, diverting a little bit to level up here and there to like keep yourself kind of comfortable with the difficulty, it's just not as exciting to me anymore as it was when I was younger. And I'd be like, oh my God, 80 hours. Like, yeah, sign me the hell up. Because, you know, that's a lot of my game time. Like that's like 3 or 4 other, 20 to 25-hour games I could be enjoying in the span of this one game. Right. So that's the main thing. That's the only reason why I'm not like, yeah, sign me the fuck up for this. Like, I want this game so badly. It's like, sure, if I have time. Let me see what my October looks like.
Question, because this is coming to PC too, right?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, they had Persona, the recent Persona 5 Tactica on Game Pass and stuff. It says available Xbox Series X, S, PS4, PS5, and PC when it releases later this year.
Okay, so having a Steam Deck and playing it on that, like, does that change the calculus at all?
Maybe it might, because as I mentioned before, I've been enjoying my Steam Deck, and actually, well, let's not dig into that just yet because I think you have something kind of relevant to this point, don't you?
Oh yeah,
In our
yeah,
deals
yeah, yeah.
corner. So why don't we talk about that first, and then I'll tell you about why you might want to jump on this.
Well, actually, I kind of want to talk a little bit myself too, because like I really enjoy Persona 5. Again, I'm with you. I put in 100 plus hours in that game. Uh, but like my concern is that I it seems like outside of Persona, the games that this studio works on don't do that great. Like Soul Hackers 2 was a thing that people didn't really love, and I'm worried that this could just be, another soul hackers. So that kind of is tamping down on how much excitement I can really get over it. I'm very much like, okay, I'm gonna wait and just see what like the vibe is with reviewers and stuff before going like, yeah, I want to play that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, I mean, I'm interested in utilizing the Steam Deck. I think it might help me to kind of explore a bit more of this game of Refantazio, because it is so much easier to just kind of like fire up and go. I did actually also just today arrived a dock as well, so I can put it onto my big screen as well.
No, nice.
So and my wife is funny because she was like, well, you had a PC and your monitor, so like, what's the difference between like playing it on your PC and then like using a dock to put on a big screen? I'm like, it really is all about the activation energy, like, and it's honestly part of the reason why the Switch was so successful, right? Because if you want to play a game on the Switch, you're a few clicks away and you're in your game, right? Like, you press that home button, you jump into your game, click, 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 you're in. And it's sort of like the same thing here with the Steam Deck. Like, I just wake it back up from rest and I jump back into the game that I'm in. Versus on a PC, it's like, okay, power it on, go in here, all my like auto opening things open, Discord opens up, I see a message came in, I have ADD, so I go and chase it down for a while, and then all of a sudden, and also I open Steam and then I'm looking at my library and then I'm staring at my library like, what should I play? Like, I don't know, and so then I'm just kind of stuck there for a while. And then all of a sudden it's been like 35 or 40 minutes since I said like, oh, I'm going to play a PC game. And now maybe I'm firing up a game again. Steam Deck, push the button, and I'm in the game that I was playing last, right? And if I want to change up the game, I actually have found that I've been changing up what I've been playing more. Like, I've been like, okay, cool. Like, I got some time in on this game. Like, I'm gonna go and I'm actually gonna pick something out of my library to play because I want to do some more game time, but I'm done playing this game. And so like, I fired back up Chained Echoes the other day. Amazing RPG, by the way. If you somehow missed that in 2022, I believe, late 2022, early 2023. Fantastic. And so, went back into that, played some more Balatro. So like, it just really helps to facilitate more of that flexibility in gaming. And I like it a lot. So I'm a huge
Are
fan
you
of the
just
Steam
like,
Deck.
no, wife, this is a dog. It's super different.
Well, no, I think she kind of understood when I was talking about the activation energy. And she's like, okay, yeah, I kind of get that, because then I can just fire it up and then put it on the dock, and now it's on the big screen. Now I'm not hunched over, like looking at the Steam Deck, which again, it's a handout experience. It helps me to kind of get up and go with the gaming faster, but I can have that same kind of experience with the actual Steam Deck, and then just dock it, and now I can play it on my big screen, and I can pair my PS5 controller to the Steam Deck. So I don't need another controller. I can just use that controller, do the same thing. So I'm a big fan of it. I'm very glad that I have one. So
Well, speaking of the Steam Deck, it's time for some wheeling and dealing. The Steam Decks are back in stock in terms of like the refurbished units, and you get a 64 gigabyte unit as low as 279, which is a really
yes,
good deal. Not the OLED, but still,
no,
that's a good deal. 279. Only reason I didn't jump on it is I'm already saving up towards the PS5 Pro. Otherwise, I'd be all over it.
yeah, and I mentioned this on Twitter as well, but like, buy the 64 gig and get a terabyte drive and do the upgrade yourself. Like, it is 100% worth it. You can get a terabyte drive for like 60 to 70 bucks. So like, then you're like about 330, 350 all in. And you've got plenty of storage for your Steam games. And it's going to be a better value than if you went and tried to buy a terabyte Steam Deck
Oh
LCD.
yeah, big time.
So, that's what I don't mind. Love it. Big fan. So yeah, I think that covers just about everything for today. So until next time, I'm Jeremy.
I'm Alan.
Keep gaming, everybody.
See ya.